Alright everybody, how you doing? Another quick one here before I take off from Wally World. So going back in about things about mindsets and winning hearts and minds. I touched on one of the other ones about how there's a lot of things that are done that are just big psyops or whatever you want to call them, or people are brainwashed into ideologies or preconceptions and this and that. So there was, I don't know if there still is, there was a video on YouTube. It was a police officer, white police officer shoots a black truck driver, or black truck driver stabs white cop with screwdriver, something like that was the title. Anyhow, this officer was giving a guy a ticket, a black truck driver, and he was explaining it to him and stuff and everything, and then all of a sudden, out of nowhere, the guy grabs a screwdriver out of the door pouch on his door and stabs the officer in the neck. The officer opens fire, multiple rounds, and kills the guy, I believe. Pretty sure he killed him. Now, if you're out here and you're in a truck, number one, you're more likely to have police action because there's more laws and things like that to deal with us. It's part of the business. You have to get used to it. It's always been part of the business. Some people say it's harassment, they're harassing us, blah, 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 and everything. But anyway, there was no reason for this guy to grab the screwdriver and attack the officer. He didn't agree with the ticket. He drove in on the wrong road or something. It was restricted, said no trucks or something. So the officer gave him a ticket. Now, maybe this guy's got it in his head that the only reason he's getting a ticket is because he's black. The only reason this cop is messing with him is because he's black. Maybe he's got all that in his head. But it happens to all of us. If you screw up in a truck, you're on the wrong street or something, and a cop sees you, he don't care what color you are, you're getting a ticket. If you're in a truck, forget about it. Maybe once in a while they let you go, but 99% of the time, you're getting a ticket. So, but I'm talking about that mindset, because you hear it all the time. Oh, pulled over for driving while black. You've got to give the cop, the officer, the benefit of the doubt sometimes. Or you should normally, from the get-go. Just give them the benefit of the doubt. Maybe you screwed up, maybe you did something wrong. Whatever it is. Maybe the car you're driving does match the description of something that was used in a crime or something. Give them the benefit of the doubt. Be polite. Yes, sir. No, sir, officer. It's like, when I was walking, I told you I was walking and the cop stopped me and wanted to look at the bottom of my shoes and stuff. Give them the benefit of the doubt. I know I'm innocent. I know I haven't done anything wrong. I'm not going to freak out about it. At all. Zero, zip. So if you're getting a ticket or whatever, you're innocent or whatever, it's when you sign it saying, you're not admitting guilt. You can go to court, whatever. Make that your battleground in court. Attacking a cop with the presumption that, oh, he's the only messing with you because you're black. There's no reason for that. There was no reason. If you watch the video and you watch this driver, it's just out of the clear blue. He doesn't agree with the ticket. I think he refuses to sign or something like that. The cop tells him whatever, that's your court date. The cop wasn't acting hostile towards him or anything. He just gives him the paperwork and stuff, and is explaining the procedure to him, and the guy lunges, grabs a screwdriver, and plunges it into the officer's neck. You got to lose that mindset. You got to give the cop the benefit of the doubt that he's not messing with you just because of the color of your skin. Attitude speaks a lot for a lot of things in life, no matter what. Yes, sir, no, sir. I've had bad attitudes with police officers where I was in a bad mood or whatever and stuff and everything and didn't understand quite the point they were trying to make. And then later thought about it, I was like, man, why did I say that or do that or act that way or whatever? Case example, had some oversized loads. We were going from Houston to Long Beach, Me and some other drivers would get out to the scale in Banning, California. They pulled us in to look at our permits. Guy looks at our permits, starts giving us like this quiz on, like, well, what are you guys missing? And this and that. And I'm like, what? What are you talking about? We got our permits right there and all this and everything. And he says, well, you're not going to make Long Beach tonight. He's where are you stopping? So we told him our yard in Fontana. He says, what do you see wrong with that picture? And I'm like, what are you talking about, man? We got permits. Because when you got a permit load, most of the truck stops are right close to the interstate. You can just jump off and go to the truck stop. You're allowed access. But if you're going to go off and go to a specific place or whatever, like to our terminal, it wasn't far from the interstate, but it wasn't right there at the ramp. We had to been on the city streets of Fontana. So we needed a permit for that too. And that's what he was pointing out to us. I said, well, why all this stuff, man? Why not just come out and say it? And everything. He said, I want you guys to learn something. So I was pissed about that. I shouldn't have been. The guy was trying to help us out. He told us, you pull off in Fontana and Ontario, California, a lot of truck drivers know it. The local cops and the DOT, they set up on the surface streets. They got portable scales and stuff, and you'll be driving down the street, and there he is, and he waves you over to the curb, and he's going to do an inspection. So he's like, you need permits for the city streets. You can't just get off and go to your terminal and then leave your terminal without permits for tomorrow to head for Long Beach. See what I'm saying? Sometimes the cop ain't trying to bust your balls. So those were a couple things I wanted to tell you about. And then also I said before, like things got strange with the first Bush's election and stuff, how strange that was. And the 9/11, all the stuff happened with it and all the conspiracy stuff about, these things don't match and this and that. Well, I was flipping through channels the other night, and the Long Kiss Goodnight, Long Kiss Goodbye, Samuel Jackson and Gina Davis was on. And I don't recall seeing this in 9/11 conspiracy stuff before, but it was probably there because, you had the Simpsons and all that kind of stuff. But basically the whole plot of the movie is it's more or less a Jason Bourne movie, except she's like the Jason Bourne character. And this was put out in 96. So 5 years before 9/11. And so the plot of the movie goes through. She's trying to find out, who she is and what and all this and there and what's going on. And eventually they get the bad guys. And basically the bad guys are other government people who say, hey, we did this operation, this or that, because we needed funding. And, so they're like, so you kill 4,000 people just to get funding? And the guy is like, yeah, well, and we'll blame it on the Muslims. That's in the movie. Now, there was another movie that was on right after 9/11. I was flipping through channels, and I think it was on one of the Spanish stations. It was when I was at home in Arizona, and it was subtitled in English. And I don't know where the movie was made or what it was about, but I was just like flipping through channels, and there was another line in there. They said they were going to do something or whatever like this, and the woman goes, blame it on the Muslims. Now, I don't know. Psyops, coincidences, just people's bad character, thinking, oh, well, we'll just throw that in there and say blame it on the Muslims. And I don't know when that other movie was made or what its title was, but I saw it right after 9/11, so I'm assuming it was made before 9/11. But weird stuff like that. And this is all, there's been weird stuff with this stuff going on. The way the media has reacted, the way the governors and mayors and police departments have reacted. Is all this part of some big psyops? They're going to break a few eggs to make an omelet. They don't care if innocent citizens get killed by people they've motivated to go out and do this stuff on purpose. I don't know. I don't know. You can't tell me to look in that cop's face. Well, people, he knows he's being filmed doing it. People yelling at him to get off and everything, and they look on it like he's, I don't know, possessed or something. That was, that was weird, bizarre to begin with, but just a lot of weird stuff goes on, and so I wanted to also talk about, I said about being distracted with what's going on around you and how drugs and everything and life and the entertainment of this life, and all Muslims know what I'm talking about because it's mentioned in the Quran about those who are happy with this life and entertain themselves with this life, and they wish it would never end and everything like that, and that's why they won't find the truth and stuff. So what are you being preoccupied with is all. I know I've gotten preoccupied with this stuff because before this I was into learning about the Baha'i faith, and also I went and bought a guitar because in Islam and in many of the teachings and the scholars I was watching and listening to, they said music was forbidden. So I had gotten rid of my guitar a long time ago and stuff, and just I very seldom listen to music, sometimes just to keep awake on the road here and there, because about 10 minutes NPR is about all I can stand, and 10 minutes of Sean Hannity or Rush Limbaugh or any of the talk shows or even the sports shows, about 10 minutes of them guys arguing over who's the goat of all, and it's all the same. If you're my age now, you can remember going 60s, 70s, 80s, 90s. It's always the same conversations. There's always a new record. Oh, that record will stand for it, and then boom, somebody breaks the record. There'll be never another team have a season like this. Boom, it happens. And you listen to them guys who sports are like their religion. They know every stat of everything and every player and blah blah blah, and all this kind of stuff. And it's the same with anything, And so just wondering, what are we being distracted by and stuff, and how do we look at ourselves in the mirror and see a lot of things, we're responsible for ourselves in our lives. And I got a friend of mine, and he's black, and he's just almost 20 years older than me. And we talk about things we did in our past and stuff like that and everything, so I know a lot about him, he knows a lot about me, and all the money we wasted doing stupid crap and everything. Well, he's in his 70s and he still has to work. I asked him, I said, I thought you were retired. This is retirement, man. You can't make it off of what you're given and stuff. And so if you're youngsters out there, instead of spending all your money on these high dollar sneakers and these laptops and worrying about all that kind of stuff or whatever else, start investment funds, start something, savings, something. Think about your future. Because I know myself, right? I'm in no better shape than my friend is. When it comes to retire, I'm not going to be able to retire and kick back. Ain't no way. But I don't have anybody to blame but myself. Maybe I can blame some of it on, my ex-wife and stuff, because we both spent money on wrong things, and, I was more always the one, hey, we don't need that right now. We got to think about the future. Let's put some money in the bank. Let's save. And, it's always got to keep up with the Joneses. Got to have it right now type stuff. So don't go out and get in deep debt. Think about your future. Don't be brainwashed or put into some certain mindset by other people. Step back. Be your own person. Think about things, your relationship with your maker. He wants you to know him. Who is your maker? Some people might go back to one of my previous videos to where I said, I was like, who are you? Well, he says he wants us to know who he is. To know him and to worship him. And that set me on my whole journey. And it's been a lot of setbacks, my own fault. But a lot of learning, and I'm sure it's still a lot more learning. And for people out there who say, how can you talk about religion, this and that, the things you've said, and the cursing and stuff, I'm sorry for the cursing and all those things. And like I said, I am not officially like a Baha'i faith member. I don't know exactly. I see things where you got to fill out a card and stuff, but I do believe. I do say the prayers. I do look at lectures and stuff they have, and trying to learn as much as I can. Like I said, I've been sidetracked a lot by a lot of this stuff, and shouldn't be. Haven't picked up my guitar or done any research or anything for the past week here, at least. So I've been sidetracked myself, and so you can't let. There's points you got to step back from everything going on, and you gotta take an assessment of yourself in the world. And there's only one way, and one who's gonna point you and teach you what truth is, and that's God. And that's through his messengers, the manifestations of God and the scriptures they bring us. And then unfortunately over time, like everything in this world, the meanings, the teachings, they get decayed. Even the scriptures get lost, changed, things like that. But he's the one you got to start looking for truth in, and what life is and how we're supposed to be as human beings. Because there's a lot of religious people out there who will point you in the wrong direction. There's all kinds of bogus theologies. This, Hitler the Master Race, you go to NOI and, black supremacy theology. All other races are subhuman because they all were derived from a mad scientist black mad scientist who was mad at his own people and decided he was going to breed different types of people till he got to white people who would punish his people for making fun of him. That's the story of Yaqub in a brief manner of seconds. You got the black Israelites saying now, they're the chosen, and that they're attacking Jewish people and stuff. And so there's a lot of confusing stuff out there, and there's a lot of stuff on social media and the internet and YouTube and all these things, and you can start watching this stuff, and you can start being, this guy makes sense. Listen to this guy. Look at all these people listening to these guys and stuff like this and everything. You got to go to the scriptures and to the writings and the teachings of those who were appointed and given authority to teach from those scriptures. So you have to go to the writings of the Bab, which is the Imam, and of Baha'u'llah, which means the glory of God. I know there's Christians, oh my God, that's Arabic, blah, blah, that's Muslim stuff. It's just language. What's God in Spanish? Dios. In English, you say God, and then you got, people say God, Jehovah, Yahweh, whatever language around the world is the name for God. Allah is just God in Arabic. It's language. There is only one God. He gave the Torah, he gave the gospel, he gave the Quran, he has given the new scriptures, he gave scriptures before to the Krishna, the other Hindu, Buddha. The Baha'i explain it in a very good way. If you look up at the sun, when the sunlight, the rays are coming through the clouds, they all go and they touch down in a different spot. You know what I'm talking about when you see the rays of the sun coming down? Well, there's only one light given all those rays. And that's pretty much what the Baha'i faith teaches, is there have been many prophets to every race. And each one of those prophets is like one of those rays from the sun. They all originated with the same great light. You understand? All the light comes, even though it comes in different rays, and if you want to break it down to the color spectrum, all light comes from one. So don't be caught up, these people, oh, that's those people, that's this. Excuse me. There is only one God. There is one human race. We have one earth. In the Quran, it talks about how we were all united once. As one community, the human race, we're one community. And then we broke away because of differences or whatever, however it came about, but race and all other things. So the cause of God, the manifestation of God, Baha'u'llah, has brought the new scripture saying the cause of God is to unite humanity, just like Jesus spoke about the kingdom of peace. Islam talks about peace, the path to peace, to the kingdom. It's the unity of humankind. Doesn't mean China can't be China, United States can't be China, and all this, but there are things that they give, we're given that should unite us, like a common money, script, good for around the world. And then there should be a second language that we all learn, that no matter where I go, if I was to go to China, I wouldn't have to learn Chinese. I would know this second language. The Chinese people would know the second language. We could talk together in this second language instead of everybody having to learn difficult multiple languages. You'd only have to learn this one other language. You wouldn't need to know French, German, Spanish, this and that and everything. Everyone would know this one other language. Do you understand? So, that's the kingdom peace. And right now, you're in the day, and there's still people working and having babies and doing this and doing wrong and everything like that. It's going to be like that on this earth. While you're in the mortal flesh, while they're mortal human beings. But we have to get better. We have to learn to communicate better. We have to bond in some areas and stuff, have a commonality. But it doesn't mean we all have to be exactly the same. See what I'm saying? China can still be China. USA can still be USA. Russia can still be Russia. And that goes back to what I was saying about people who want to change this country. If you don't like it, leave. We are not a socialist, communist country. We never have been, and hopefully never will be. We are a constitutional republic. We believe in free enterprise and capitalism. Yeah, you could say there's a lot that needs to be fixed with that, and you're right. Excessive greed needs to be fixed. But humanity and the world, you get a lot of people focus on this country, and it had slavery. Well, actually, technically, we only had slavery for 90 years. But every country on the face of the earth has had something, slavery, and done things. We're growing, we're learning, we're putting those types of things behind us. We're supposed to be evolving spiritually as well as scientifically into the future to learn to put these old ideas of feelings of animosity because of these things that have happened, and disputes over land and stuff, to work those out in ways that are equitable for people without going to war, and just using common sense. And because even in the Quran it said, about people, isn't the whole world big enough for you to go practice your faith in? As opposed to what it became to is make jihad and make other people submit to Islam and force whatever place you're living in to become Islamic. It was like, hey, you can go anywhere and be a Muslim. Or, you could have said that to the Christians. Hey, isn't the world big enough for you to... Why do you want to come here and force... We're a Muslim country. Why do you want to come here and force Christianity on us? Same thing. So anyhow, there's a lot of things. I know I go over many subjects and stuff and back and forth, and sometimes I get wound up. Blah, blah, blah. So, but I see people dying in the streets and stuff. Excuse me. See people dying in the streets and stuff, and like nobody cares. I see the cops being made to deal with stuff they shouldn't be made to deal with. What are you gonna do? An angry mob's coming at you and stuff and everything, and they're pushing towards you. You're supposed to just let them grab your stick, your gun, whatever. You don't know what they're gonna do. You've already seen them beat other cops. You tell them, get back, whatever. They're not gonna listen. They've been trained not to listen. They're going to keep pushing forward and everything and make you do something. And then the cop breaks out a stick or mace or rubber bullets or something, and oh my God, it's the cop's fault. See what I'm saying? There's people behind this stuff, teaching these people these tactics and to do these things. Aha, the cops can't do anything if you do it this way. The cops can't do anything if you do it this way. Well, a lot of those laws and things and restrictions will be changed. They're going to have to be. Because it cannot be mob rules. It cannot be mob rules. You do not want that, America. And to all those people who want to change this country and, we're going to pay people to sit at home on their asses and stuff and smoke weed, and we're going to tax the hell out of everybody else, so that ain't never going to fly. That is not ever going to fly. I'll be looking to go pack my bags to go somewhere else then, if that happens. If this country goes so far down the tubes to where, people like me and other drivers out here, other industries and stuff can work, 14, 18 hours a day trying to make better lives for their families, then have most of that taken away and given to some dopehead who sits on his butt all day, doesn't want to go to work, or a welfare queen. Just, it ain't right. I see people with disabilities, born with disabilities, who have struggled, and they go to work and they function. If anybody should get a check and some extra help, it should be them. If they can go get a job and function, and they got MS or something and have had to deal with a handicap their whole lives, if they can get off their butts and go get a job, why the hell are you talking about paying people to stay at home, sit on their asses? Huh? Able-bodied people. And then give them money, so they can go buy dope, make you richer because you're invested in it. Better wake up, America. You better wake up. They're playing you. They're playing you 6 ways from Sunday and a lot of things. You better figure it out. All right, wish you the best. Be safe out there. God bless. Adios.